Batman issue 151, legacy number 916. Chip Zdarsky writing with Mike Hawthorne on the art. So, this is such a weird case, and I said this last time, but it's such a weird case where a regular ongoing book is the tie-in to an event for several issues, and it's an improvement over the regular run. But it really is. Like, I definitely enjoyed this way more than I'd been enjoying any of Zdarsky's like ongoing run.
It shows that if you put a little bit of limits on Zdarsky and not let him do whatever he wants, he's capable of good storytelling.
It's so weird because normally you'd say no, like let writers do what they want, but yeah, he's the sort of guy where if he's left to just do whatever he feels like, I just don't like what he comes up with. But if you say here's what you have to accomplish with this story, and he just goes and writes it, he'll write a a really competently well put together like sequence of panels and words.
Yeah, and he's very good at tension too, which I feel comes from him being an artist primarily, because this is essentially a heist issue.
Yes, it's
and I feel the tension throughout and the way that he doles out. Like, again, I don't like everything that happens in it. There's a couple of weird wonky things. However, when we get to the main crux of it, everything works.
But by and large, though, it's solid. Yeah, I mean, the only thing really is that going straight into this from Absolute Power, like obviously this takes place after Absolute Power issue 2. While obviously Batman goes through the portal with everyone else, it does just kind of feel like he's casually showing up to talk to Selina. Like, wait, how did you get here? Like, I feel like you were just at the fortress, but it's fine, whatever. But it does follow on from what they said in that issue, which is that Batman's job is to find the mother box that Amanda Waller's using to do a lot of this stuff. And well, who does he go to for a heist? Well, obviously he goes to Catwoman. So this is a Bat and Cat team-up issue where he enlists her help to go to was it an island off the coast of Gamora called Okinawa, because that's
yeah, it's actually in Japan, Okinawa. It's one of there's an American military base there.
All right, but they said it's close though, right?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah,
but it's not a made up place. It's it's not.
I just I mean, it does sound Japanese, but I just assumed it was made up because Gamora's made up.
Right. So.
And what's the place they always use for like a Middle Eastern country?
Oh, geez. There's Bialya, there's Karak.
That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You throw in wherever Black Adam, why am I drawing a blank? Kondak, yeah. You throw Kondak in there. So.
Yeah, well, it's something they do because they don't want to villainize a real country, so they make up one.
Which, fair enough, right?
Yeah.
Like, but I think it's funny, too, that Gamora's been another one of those that the first time it really popped up was in Tom Taylor's Superman. You know, as when they brought Jay Nakamura in, and so
that's something a lot of Absolute Power in general is doing. Like Mark Waid really isn't ignoring any for better or worse. Like as much as I hate the failsafe stuff, like he does address, hey, failsafe came from Batman, and that's something that's going on. Brainiac Queen came from Superman. Superman references that in that book. Everything Waller's been doing has been building up in several books, including Green Arrow, and there's a lot of good editorial oversight right now that's connecting everything together, which is fun to see. So Bruce is like, hey, we have to go undercover. I'll pose as some guy representing like a private military contractor or whatever. You'll be my assistant. So she's got like a red wig on. He's got like a blonde wig, and so it's not quite matches Malone, but there's a bit of a vibe here.
Blonde Bruce is not like that. Is like worst case scenario. It's just it feels wrong, you know.
It is very strange. But basically, they're banking on not letting her sit in the meeting that he's got with this like general or whoever it is. But that's part of the plan, so she can go and snip around on her own and hopefully find the mother box. So that is indeed what she does, and she does notice that there's some Suicide Squad members walking around, and I actually laughed out loud because later on when she actually starts fighting them, she's like, "So are you like Deadshot, or are you like Deathstroke, or like is Deadeye?" Yeah. But I appreciated that joke because I could before that joke I could not have told you which one he was.
All I can remember is he's Waller's nephew.
Yeah. I mean, I know he's neither Deadshot or Deathstroke. I know that obviously, but I couldn't tell you what he's doing.
For whatever reason, Deadeye it leaves my brain as soon as I read it. So
it's because it's too similar to Deadshot. We've already got like the sniper marksman character from Suicide Squad.
Well, and I just want to know how, I know he's psychic based, but he's got like a Cyclops eye in the middle of his mask. I'm assuming he has two regular human eyes.
You would assume.
So how is this working? I don't know. Try not to think about it too much.
Reflectors inside his visor.
Sure.
Something. I don't know. Comic book logic.
There's something that happens here is when it's revealed that Batman is off with the general, where the general turns around. He's talking about how they built a bunker, and when he turns back, Bruce is in there in a full costume.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Not a full costume. He's got the cowl on, but he still looks up, he's still got his shirt unbuttoned and he's still wearing the regular trousers. So he's sort of like, he's taken off the wig and the mustache, he's brought up his cowl, and he's sort of in the middle of undoing his shirt. And the general just turns around and sees this and is like, ugh. This was a funny moment to me. One, I'm like, Bruce, is this really the time to make your switch right like behind him in a split second? But secondly, it's funny to me because we often talk about him Batmaning out of a scene where the character turns around and he's just gone. This is like a really weird inverse of that, where the character turns around and someone's become Batman.
Yes.
That's just funny to me.
I just think, just him standing there, he's like business casual Batman. Like, it's just very funny.
Anyway, so Clock King's with Deadeye and Black Alice, and Black Alice starts using her magic, and Selina realizes, oh shit, she's a magic user. She's going to detect that I'm here, and sure enough, she does. So very quickly, it becomes this fight. Batman comes swooping in as well. And it's a whole thing. The big thing, though, is that Bizarro shows up. He's got like a cybernetic arm. Now, I did not, it was only a few months ago, but I don't remember where Bizarro was at the end of that Jason Aaron story, but this doesn't feel like it matches up to me.
No, so I think this is the Red Hood and the Assassins. Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Okay.
Bizarro, which is different than Bizarro from the Cube Earth Bizarro. This is the one that I kind of like, this Bizarro. So he's kind of like Frankenstein's monster in that. So him having the cybernetic arm's a whole new type of vibe that I like. It makes him seem scary.
I think I prefer this version. I think I prefer the version of Bizarro that's like the result of like an experiment gone wrong than there's a Bizarro world with lots of Bizarros.
Yeah, because you can still do that. He wants to do well. He just is not. He doesn't have the understanding of it all, right? And he still wants to make Superman happy, but he has that twisted sense of logic and stuff, and he gets manipulated more than anything. And you can still do that with Experiment Bizarro. But yeah, here I forgot. I know they introduced him in the page early on. Like you see him standing there as they're getting off the plane. So when Clock King's counting down, I kind of spaced that it was Bizarro. So when I get to that page that he lands, it really got me with a wow moment. So
I knew it was him because he's one on the cover, and two, they did show him earlier on for that one page. So I kind of expected him at some point, I knew it was counting down to him.
This was also one of the books I was dozing off while reading because it was getting late. So that might have factored into it. But yeah, and again, with coloring here, the purples and the blues really hit against the jungle when he shows up. So yeah, for me, it made a real big wow moment.
Yeah, Batman basically just tricks him by saying there's like a surprise in the car for him by speaking in the opposite way.
I still hate reading it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a whole thing. But Selina basically tries to get the mother box, and turns out that it's not really here, but there's also like a bomb that gets set off as well, where there's a timer and there's an explosion. It ends up not really doing that much damage. I mean, you see her flying out of the building in the explosion, but it's just kind of like, it was a bit of a rough bump, but she's fine. There you go, whatever.
So they go through the boom tube and they end up in the Waller family mausoleum.
Yes, which is not on Earth. At first it seemed like it was on its own little bubble, which it is technically its own little bubble because it has Earth's atmosphere in this bubble. Yeah. But Batman kind of puts two and two together when he's looking outside the bubble and realizes that they're on Zarnia. Yeah. So Waller has built like a safe place to go to run away to if things go bad.
Yep.
And I don't know, this is kind of a wild thing. It's very it's not unlike Waller to have contingencies, but I think Batman says it best when he says like, it's not like her to be sentimental like this. So this is a little bit different.
She put the mausoleum on a dead planet. There's significance there, right? Especially now after the Brainiac War stuff, there's Lobo's back to being one of the only Zarnians. So there's definitely something going on there. So it's not like her to be sentimental.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically the end of the issue. All the Suicide Squad show up, and Batman and Catwoman are not in a good place. Seems like they're going to be taken captive here. I'm sure they'll figure a way out of it, but that is where the issue ends. The art's all right. I don't always love it. I think sometimes the faces can be a bit, who's this guy at the end here that I always forget?
Deadeye.
Is that just Deadeye without the mask?
Who and which part? No, that's Gunsmith. That was another thing that they re-added that came from Zdarsky's run earlier. It says go back and check, Batman, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, this dude. Like the art on his face at the end just feels a bit weird to me. I don't know. Like whatever it is about him, the proportions of his head, the fact that. Like, obviously you can just have, like, teeth with no detail and depending on the panel type, but this panel feels too big for him to just have a white block in his mouth.
He's got some, like, big old chompers.
It's like one big tooth inside his mouth. Yeah. So, and that's consistent throughout. I mean, even the page before that, Batman has no detail in his teeth either, so it's very clearly just this artist, Hawthorne, is consistent with that.
It's not terrible. It's just not my liking. Like, it's a taste thing. Because the breakdowns and the action sequences all work. The tension's there through the art and the writing. I just don't really like looking a lot at the faces.
I agree with that. The panel layouts are solid and tell the story well. The pacing is good. It's just I just don't like the actual art that much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But his Bizarro looks good. I'll give him that. Like, the grotesque, lines, like when he's gearing up the flame breath, it looks very monstrous on that page. So that works.
Yeah. I did not read the backup.
Oh, I did.
Oh, really? Oh, go on then.
Yeah, so it's called Absolute Power Plant. It's from Tini Howard. Art by Mariana Ignazzi. And it's a Harley story, and she's in Gotham as the henchmen are realizing that there's no heroes around to stop them. So they all end up getting into a fight over who's going to take over the city. And she's trying to get control of everything and mentions like the people like Mr. Freeze are hanging low because he realizes that Waller's coming for people with superpowers and he doesn't want to be taken. So he's laying low. And then Ivy is, she's keeping her feelers out just kind of everywhere. In case they need her. And so she's keeping her head low. So that leaves Harley out here trying to maintain. And she ends up hearing a lot of this like pinging, and she goes down into the sewer and finds like a bat device. And on the other side of it is Riddler. And he had set up a trap for Batman where he has the nuclear power plant under, it's going to blow up unless Batman can stop him by answering his riddles. So Harley gets there. All of the nuclear scientists are tied up, and Harley smashes the computer as soon as she gets there. And Riddler's like, what the hell? Like, this was a big part of the riddles. You need the screens. And she goes, just shut it down. And he's like, oh, I can't. I just plan the riddles. I don't plan how to stop them. That's up to Batman. And she explains, like, she goes, there's no other heroes. Like, usually if it's not Batman, it'll be one of the Bat family or maybe the Flash. Someone will come through and stop. And Riddler ends up going, oh, no. And as she's telling him, like, just enter the thing, she ends up accidentally choking him out because there's a struggle. So that leaves these nuclear scientists to solve these, typical riddles that Riddler has left out. And so, one of them's easy. It's just a fill-in for the word gamma. Another one is like a Quirtle. I think that's the thing, right? The Wordle. To fill in the answers right on. And then it ends up being a more traditional type Riddler riddle that Batman would figure out, that one of the scientists, just by looking at the words, it's about, they're looking for an exact number, but the answer ends up being 0. So they end up saving the day, and it makes Harley, not just like, it doesn't put her at being a hero, but it shows her how much Batman and the other heroes mean, because they're always doing stuff like this, right? For Harley, she just fills in, but they're constantly going through these types of schemes. So she also tells the scientist that she didn't do this just to save the world, but like if a nuclear bomb went off in Gotham, her girlfriend would kill her, right? Because of what it would do to the environment. So it ends on her meeting back up with Ivy, and Ivy's like, "Oh, what'd you do tonight?" And she goes, and she starts going into it, and Ivy goes, I don't even need to know. And that's where it ends. I like the art a lot. It's very, it's very flat in a way that it feels like, who's that one that does Green Arrow a lot? I'm drawing a blank on his name. But it feels a lot like that, so it feels kind of classic in that way. And just Tini Howard knows how to write Harley after being on Harley forever. So just a nice little sweet backup of what's going on in Gotham while Absolute Power. So, yeah.
I mean, it is interesting to me, the idea that Riddler's actually like freaking out that, oh wait, I never actually wanted the nuclear power plant to go boom.
Yeah. Because Batman's going to stop it, and I don't have to give you the Riddlers, because where's the point in it? Batman's going to figure it out.
The idea that he doesn't actually want the bad things to happen, he always expects Batman to fix it, is an interesting lens to look at his antics through.
Yep.
But hey, anyway, that's we giving Batman 151.
I'll give it a 7.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Dang, look at that.
It's a decent tie-in.